the movie.
I guess we could, yeah. We've started the last couple with how did you feel about it?
So I know that you had said that this is one that will be different from the others, and I'll probably be okay.
Uh-oh, were you not?
No, I totally was. I loved it.
Oh, yay!
But I have not been sleeping well, as everybody on this podcast knows from the last 3 movies.
Yeah.
But like 2 or 3 nights ago, I just like woke up every when you're sleeping, it feels like every 10 minutes, but I'm sure it's like every half hour to hour. But last night I slept so well, and it was after I watched the movie, and I think that helped because this movie made me feel great.
This movie is so sweet. I love it.
It's so ridiculous.
It's so dumb.
Enjoyed it so much, and I'm so happy that we're rounding out this very dark and deep and sorrowful series with this movie, because it kind of just like loops around to some lightness, and I don't know, cherry on top for this
Cherry
one,
on top. I do
top.
want to call out that I just missed a great joke opportunity. You said you were describing this run of movies as dark, and then you paused, and I wish that I had shouted, and wicked.
Let's take it back. Let's do it now.
That's on me. I messed up. I will say I haven't had nightmares this whole time. I have started having nightmares while editing Dark and the Wicked.
Oh.
No, and I'm pissed.
Is it editing nightmares?
No. That would be fine. Demon nightmares would be fine. No, it's family drama nightmares.
Oh, no,
and
the worst kind.
It's not fair.
Yeah, that's the worst.
I don't deserve that.
Yeah, so if you guys listened to the Dark and the Wicked 2 episodes that we had, that's...
It was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, but so happy that we watched this movie, and glad that we watched this movie. I'm just going to keep focusing on this movie.
This movie was very good. It's light. It's fun. Yes, there's a big old monster, but like that's chill, you know?
Yeah. I can't say enough good things about this movie. We'll get
cool.
into it. Maybe I'll say some bad things. Let's see.
Let's find out. Okay, welcome to Never Show the Monster. I'm Kelly Attaway.
I'm Chelsea Hollander.
And today we are talking about After Midnight, which is just the best. It's just the best. So a quick description of the movie. It is horror/romance is how it's categorized on IMDb. And I was reluctant to watch it for that reason. I was like, ew, romance, yuck.
I was going to say, I also didn't know it was categorized as romance. I tried not to do any research until after I watched the movie. So I didn't know it was going to be that, but it was a nice, is it just categorized as horror and romance? Is it also comedy? Is it not comedy?
I think it was just the two, but I wouldn't be surprised if comedy was on there.
But maybe some of the parts you weren't supposed to laugh at. I don't know.
No, I think it's intentionally
I audibly
funny.
laughed out loud a couple times.
Yeah. I think that's intentional. And we can talk more about that when we get to Henry Zebrowski's character. Yeah, so horror romance, and I was like the little boy at the beginning of A Princess Bride. I was like, ew, I don't want to see any kissing. But ultimately, I supported the kissing. It was fine. But the plot of the movie is focused around a couple, Hank and Abby, and they have been together for 10 years. And one day, Hank wakes up and Abby is just gone. And in her place is a monster that comes scratching at the door every night after midnight. It's trying to get in. He has barricaded himself in the house, and nobody believes him that there's a monster, and he can't get a hold of Abby. So that's the basic plot of the movie. What did you find in your research?
Not a ton. So it came out in 2021. But I think it originally released in 2019 during film festivals or something like that.
It was
it was shot in 2019, was supposed to release in 2020, but COVID made that difficult. So
Dang, I didn't realize this was that recent.
Yeah, super recent. And it was originally called something else.
Mm-hmm.
So the original name of the movie was something else. It's directed and written by written and starred the same guy.
Yeah,
so the main character is also the director and writer. Great job on all of them.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought just many pieces of it were so good. And the girl, Brie Grant, I looked up on her stuff and I was shocked to find that she also writes and directs movies. And one of the movies that she wrote and directed is one that's on our list to eventually look at because it takes place in Arkansas.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. So
Which
she did a movie
is
called, I think it's called 12 Hour Shift about the black market organ trade stuff.
Okay.
But it looked good. And that was the movie I was most excited about in our Arkansas series whenever that comes up. I was shocked and excited to see that she was doing stuff. It feels like a lot of the people in the movie also are like creative people that either make movies or do a bunch of other fun stuff. So
this is like a very indie film, like everybody, just like you said, does 12 different things and they're all really good at it.
Yeah, it was just all around good. And I know that he has, his name's Jeremy Gardner. I like that I just didn't say his name at all.
No,
his name's Jeremy Gardner. And he also co-directed with Christian Stella. They have directed movies in the past as well.
They've got that zombie one.
Yeah, and I was about to say the name, and then I forgot it all of a sudden. I was going to say The Battery? Is that what it's called? The Battery? I haven't seen it, but, after watching this movie, I really want to see it.
I do too. I have only been reluctant because I don't love a zombie movie.
I agree.
But I love that pair, so I should probably
maybe it's going to be a different way to look at it. And I feel like if this movie was, because it is about a monster that shows up, if it was what I had expected, I don't know if I would have liked it as much. So I'm hoping that they also approach a zombie movie the same way, maybe.
They must, yeah.
But that's kind of all I really found out about it. Just read about that it was a different name. I liked that Brie Grant had done some other stuff, but not really much else. There wasn't a lot on the facts the trivia for the movie, which is usually where I get a decent amount of stuff. Absolutely nothing on the Wikipedia page. This one was like mostly empty. I'm going to go through it and make sure that I'm not forgetting something. Oh, okay. One of them was at the karaoke scene. Justin Benson, who played the brother.
Shane.
The brother Shane. He sings House of the Rising Sun, which is an homage to the song being used in Endless, which is a movie that was directed and starring him.
Love. The Endless. Love it.
That's a thing? I haven't seen it. What? Okay, I'm going to have to go look at that now. So, yeah, exactly like we were saying. Everyone in the movie is someone who's done something that's really impressive. I don't know. And it's just like how much we love Dead and Breakfast because it feels like a bunch of friends getting together and doing something. Mm-hmm. This seems like a bunch of people who cared about something and wanted to do something fun.
Yeah. This is a heartfelt cast.
Good description.
Did you see anything about its reception? You said it premiered at film festivals. Did people like it?
So it has been weird because I have found that it had mostly positive response, which I would expect. Mm-hmm. But the ratings are lower than I would expect. I mean, I guess for a horror movie, it's super high.
What is it?
Never mind.
Oh, no.
It's a 5.3. But I count anything above 5 as super high.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the higher ones we've done.
Yeah. I can't believe it's only a 5.3. I am disappointed with, I guess it depends on what you're going in for and what you want from it.
Yeah, I think if you want like a creature feature, you're going to come out disappointed. I just wanted
to be entertained.
I know, I just wanted a good time.
and it provided exactly what I wanted. And I mean, after going into the other movies being like, I'm going to hold my breath and try not to feel like, especially after last week's movie.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I mean, you could have given me anything as long as it wasn't more depressing. Maybe I would have been, but I think I would have liked this movie on any other day.
Yeah, I watched this movie for the first time on just a normal day, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we're doing this movie.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Oh, I did want to mention, where did you watch this one?
Oh, yes. this is what I wanted to talk about. I watched it on Amazon Prime, and I sent Kelly a picture or a video of me trying to watch it because I have a Fire TV, and I went to it, and it kept giving me Butcher, Baker, Nightmare Maker. And every time I looked up after midnight, and I checked Just Watch, another plug for Just Watch, and it kept saying it is available on like every platform.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm trying so hard. And then I found it on my phone. I pressed play. I played the first 3 minutes of it, and then I exited it out. And then I looked on my Fire TV, and then it said, "You've watched 3 minutes of Butcher, Baker, Nightmare Maker." I was like, bullshit, I did not. And then I proceeded to click on it to resume the movie, and it resumed after midnight. So if you guys are trying to watch it and struggling to find it, and you have a Fire TV, go ahead and watch Butcher, Baker, Nightmare Maker. It's the same movie, I guess. What'd you watch it on?
I guess I watched it on Amazon. I don't know. This is one I should own, I think.
Yeah.
I like this one a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's something that I definitely want to watch again, too, because it's just, I don't know, it doesn't get me down. It doesn't make me, I could watch it in an afternoon and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, it's great.
And I love the music in it.
The music is so good.
So good.
I meant to look up the soundtrack because I loved it so much.
And I did not.
Even the bad karaoke. Like, I don't want to listen to that just on a normal day, but I liked its place in the movie.
Yep, agreed.
So the movie starts in sort of two time periods. It bounces back and forth between Hank's memories of Abby and present day. And I'm going to talk about his memories first. So all of these memories, which we see interspersed with present day, are of Abby, usually on her birthday, and they are very happy memories of them as a couple. It's nothing but smiles and laughter. Except the very opening scene is sort of interesting. So it opens and it looks like it's about to be very spooky. So we see Abby, who's like a tiny, pretty blonde lady, walking alone through foggy, tall grass. And this movie is set in Central Florida. So you can imagine what that looks like mossy trees, and like the air looks thick, So she's like walking alone through this tall grass, and she's sort of hugging herself, and she looks nervous and uncomfortable. And she starts calling out for Hank, and something jumps out and grabs her. But it's just Hank. He's being cute. They're just playing. He just grabs her, and they're like cuddly and flirty. He has invited her out from the town proper, and the town is called Barlow, right?
Mm-hmm. Barlow.
It's a small town. We'll learn more about that as the movie progresses. And he has invited her out to his family's home. It doesn't seem like anybody lives there. Like, I don't know where his family is now, but it's his house at this point. And it's her birthday. So he says that he brought her out there. This is her birthday present. And she was like, the house? And he was like, no, not the house. What's inside the house? And the house is like dilapidated.
It's really nice though.
I don't so cute though.
I don't know if like, and I kind of want to talk about this because we've talked about houses with each of the episodes we've done. I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's such a nice fixer-upper. I don't know. At what point do you go from, oh, shit, that house is super creepy, to, oh, my God, that door, those stained glass windows, that...
the tile?
The molding. That tile in that first room when you come
that entryway?
In. Sorry.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We were focused on the correct things in this movie.
It's a cute-ass house.
And I don't want to... harken back to Animal Crossing again, but my grandma owned a very old house, and in Animal Crossing, I had made my own house because you do that in Animal Crossing. And my cousin came to my island to visit me, and she said, "Did you just remake Grandma's house?" And I was like, "Did I?" But it turns out I just really like old houses, and this one. I was like, there are two wraparound porches. There's one on the first story and one on the second story. And then you have like multiple bay windows. I don't know. I loved it. And I was like, man, this has potential, but you need to clean up that yard to make sure you don't have them monsters.
I am not ready to blame the grass on the monster. We'll get there.
Grass is groomed. I would be less likely as a monster to run across it because if you had like nice floodlights, there are many things you could have done. Let's go back into it.
Let's go back. So he's bringing her to this house. It's her birthday. Like I said, it's a memory. It's pretty clear that this is very early on in their relationship. This is around the time of when they got together. So the whole movie is structured around Abby's birthdays, and that seems to be linked to their anniversaries. So the two are closely tied. He brings her to this house, and it's very cute. They're like cuddling and flirting. And he sorry, I'm trying to think of how to talk about this part with tact. So he brings her into the entryway.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like set up with pillows and blankets in the entryway, just the entryway of the house. I guess I get it. We both love that tile. Maybe that's like an aphrodisiac. I don't know.
I mean, that's probably the biggest selling point of the house. Everything else was a little dated. I mean,
yeah. This is just the
way,
cutest part.
In a good way.
yeah. This is just the cutest part of the house. And she's like, "Oh, this is my birthday present." And he's like kissing her and touching her. And he's like, "Well, you can't unwrap making a memory. We can't put a big old bow on this." And she says a funny line. She says, "Oh, so you take me out to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house and you expect me to throw myself at you?" But she does. Oh no, there's a funny line. She asks him, "So what's your plan here? Are you going to just kill me, or are you going to kill me and then eat me?" And he says, "Oh no, you've got it wrong. I'm going to eat you first." And then he goes down on her. And I'm only bringing this up because she comes so fast. It was like 5 seconds. I was like, how? I guess that is a good birthday present then.
He's been trained well. Well, how old were they? Okay, she's at the end of the film, she's 33. 23? So
23.
23? Mm-hmm. That was her 23rd.
And that same night, they are up in a room, like a proper room in the house. And again, they're just being super cute, super flirty. And Abby he's got like a boombox on the table next to them. She opens the boombox and she finds a tape labeled "For Julie." And cute flirty scene where she's like trying to keep it from him and he's trying to get it back, and she's making a big deal about, "Oh, it's my birthday and you bring me here where you have made a mixtape for some other girl on my birthday." It's all very cute, and I'm spending time on this because it's going to come back later. So in this scene where she finds this tape with Julie, he pours her a glass of wine that is called Pinot Noir. It is wine made by people who own a peanut farm. And we established
in Georgia.
In Georgia?
In Georgia.
And we established that Abby is a wine drinker. She does the like sip, swirl, sniff. Savor, swallow. Mm-hmm.
Well, is that what it is?
I think so.
Ah, sweet.
I think we did it.
Yeah.
We're highfalutin now.
We're sommeliers, I would say.
Yep. And so she's drinking this wine and she's being very sweet. Like, it's clearly not very good wine, but she's like, "Oh, this experience is just so nice that I can't help but like the wine." And he's like, "Good, because they were very persuasive and they convinced me to buy a whole case of this shit."
She described it as like a jelly. She was like, "I think it's kind of like a jelly."
She was like, "I'm getting grape jelly." And then she was like, "Oh, I know. It's peanut butter and jelly wine." Yeah, it was goofy. So then it's another birthday memory, and he's pouring her a glass of wine, and she unwraps his present from him, and it is a kitten, very cute kitten that they named Darby. And they make a joke. He says, "How do you feel about getting a gift that's going to last 20 years? And she's like, this cat is going to outlive our relationship. So while we're doing these like memory flashbacks, what we're seeing in real life is Hank has barricaded himself in that Sexy Times entryway. The couch is up against the door and something is scratching on the outside trying to get in. And he's like, he blows a hole through the door with a shotgun. It's very stressful. It's dark, right? Yeah. It's after midnight. You guys, you know.
It's after midnight. I was saying the editing between these two scenes is always very abrupt.
Yes.
Like all of the memories are very like sunshiny. Like they're
so
always in like glowy. A golden light and they're always like warm feeling. And then it immediately goes to like more of a blue.
It's very cool.
Always abrupt. So it's like he's like trapped in these daydreams thinking of Abby, and then he comes out of them to this monster.
To this horrible reality where he's trying to defend himself. After a bunch of those scenes, we see Hank. He's asleep on that couch. The monster is gone. And there are beer bottles and a shotgun on the floor in front of him. And the sun is up. So he gets up. He goes to the kitchen. And we see a note from Abby pinned to the cabinet that says that she needed to go away for a while and she's sorry. And that's it. That's all anybody knows. That's all Hank knows. That's all we know. Where'd Abby go? So Hank goes outside to inspect the damage from the night before, and the door is covered in scratches. But the cat food bowls, Darby's cat food bowls, are totally untouched. They're just sitting on the edge of the porch. You'd think if this was an animal, they'd have gotten into that cat food. And we've already started talking about it. My next notes are about how like idyllic and bright all of the memories of Abby are. And right away in the movie, there's a tension with that. Like all of these memories are so glowy and everybody's smiling and laughing. There are no sad memories, but like she's gone. So what happened there? Is this like how people imagine people differently than they are? Like, are we not seeing a clear picture of who Abby is in these memories, or is he just focusing on the good memories? So we already have a question about what the situation is, apart from the big one, which is what the fuck is at the door?
And honestly, though, in this movie, the thing that I kind of struggled with, this is probably the only, I don't even think this is negative, but I didn't understand the amount of time that was passing between her note and what was happening. Like I couldn't figure out the time period. And you do find out what it is. It's about 4 weeks. So he's probably in week 1 or 2, week 2 by this point. Yeah, he's in some week. I didn't know how far away that was. I was like, did she leave like a year ago? Yeah. Did she leave yesterday? What's going on? Because I mean, maybe he wouldn't be so worried if it was yesterday. That was hard to gauge because it was jumping through time and you don't even know how far from the memory current day is. There's no label for those.
No, it takes a little while to put those pieces together. I remember feeling disoriented about that the first time.
And I guess it's the assumption that the audience is intelligent, which I appreciate, but as we said before, we're a little dumb. We're dumb. Sometimes you got to lead us there, guys. Yeah. Sometimes.
So here's how dumb I am. This is sort of jumping to the future. The wine bottles, that case of Pinot Noir, is important to the timeline of the story. So they only drink a bottle of the Pinot Noir on her birthday every year.
Oh.
See, yeah, I didn't realize it the first time either, which is why at the end, he says, do you want to drink another case of this shit with me?
Aw.
Yeah.
Did they drink an entire case on her birthday?
No, they drank a case over the last 11 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sweet. So spoiler, it's a happy ending.
Is it? I mean, I guess it is. I don't know.
I think it's a happy ending.
We could talk about how the trauma affected them. I don't know.
No, don't do that. Don't make it a bummer. This is a nice movie.
Anyway, where were we?
Hank's in the kitchen. He just saw this note from Abby. Not just saw. He knows the note is there. We just saw it. He's reflecting on it. And so he calls Abby and she doesn't answer. And he leaves a message telling her, I'm getting a bunch of birthday cards for you in the mail. Got a bunch of bills and you've always handled that. I don't know what I'm doing. And then he says, listen, we're going to have to talk if you want to break this off. We're going to have to talk. So call me back. But he also tells her about the monster.
Yes.
This first call is somber, and he sounds like a desperate man. He's like, listen, ever since you've left, something's come to the door every night. It's trying to get in. I don't know what it is. Call me back. He hangs up. He calls her again, and this time he's mad. He got riled in those couple seconds, and he calls back just to say, I think the monster ate your cat. Hangs up.
I was like, whew, rough.
Yeah, mean.
And I was going to say, this is an instance that I didn't pick up when I was watching it. You get bills every month. So if you got bills, it had to have been within a month. But in my brain, I was like, man, he has not been paying his bills for a while? That's weird. Oh, my God. This is when you make assumptions, directors and writers. Dumb people don't get it. Chelsea don't get it in the world. You gotta feed it to us sometimes, but feed it to us to make us still feel smart.
Yeah. It was like the postcard killings where they did it 3 different times. So you could like...
But even then, I still didn't get parts of it.
But I just remember you getting it in the middle because you were like, just right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not too smart. I'm not too dumb.
Yeah, you're just right
there in the middle. And that's the place to be.
I got that one first go, but I did not.
That's because you're too smart.
I'm too smart.
Yeah. You have to deal with the levity of the world because you understand it better than I do.
Levity is a good thing. What do you mean?
Nope, I meant the opposite. See, the dumb part of me is talking the gravity.
There we go.
We got there, guys. We got there.
And that's why I abuse.
See, I knew both
alcohol.
Words.
That's you did. Middle. That's middle.
Yeah. The lower one didn't know both words. They just knew levity. Sorry, anybody who didn't know levity. It doesn't mean anything on you. Maybe it does. I don't know.
It's good. Look it up. You'll like it. You'll like that word.
It means light things.
Yeah, like fun stuff. Like we tried to add levity to our Dark and the Wicked episode. I don't know.
Did we add levity?
Succeeded.
Was there levity on it?
we told some jokes. I don't know.
Were they sad? Oh, I mean, they were sad.
Gallows humor is still humor.
Okay.
Anyway, before he called Abby, he was out checking the mail, and he fully shot at a car passing his mailbox while he was checking the mail. Just he's on edge, and who wouldn't be? Big old monster coming to your door every night. Not sleeping well, you know? After he calls Abby, a cop shows up at his door. And we learn that the cop is Abby's brother. His name is Shane. Being like, dog, you cannot be shooting at cars. He's like...
Why not?
He's like, you often take your shotgun to check the mail? Huh? Is that like a normal thing for you? And this is when you learn how long they've been together, Abby and Hank. The brother, Shane, is like, listen, Hank, I'm trying to catch your break. We're family. And Hank is like, we're not family. And Shane is like, well, we should be. Should have been 10 years ago. Like, it's clear that Hank and Abby have been together for a long time. And like, the family loves him, right? It's nice that a brother loves him.
That's so sweet that he's like, I want to be your family. What's the problem?
Right. Like, marry my dang sister.
And that's like a hint to be like, dude, this could be part of the reason that she left is because you're not committing. You're not making her feel like she's the most important person to you.
Exactly. So Hank is frustrated after this encounter, and we see him driving, and he's driving for a long time, which I think establishes how far out his house is.
Yeah.
And he lands at a bar. He owns this bar with Abby. So he gets there and he like can drink the nicest whiskey. He says that he orders an 1816 whiskey. We got whiskey from 1860?
Is
16? 1816.
Is that just a really good year?
Dog, 1816 is so long ago. We still got whiskey bopping around from 1816?
It's a leap year.
That's what makes it so good.
It was the year without summer. It's known as the year without summer because of climate abnormalities.
Oh, yeah. I bet the booze is weird then, huh?
That's cool. Wow. Okay. Is this year actually important? Okay. 1816, year without summer whiskey. Send us some.
Yeah, send us some. But he gets to the bar, and guess who's there? Everybody guess. I'll tell you. It's Henry Zebrowski. Love Mr. Zebrowski. I'm a big fan of Last Podcast on the Left, and I was so happy to see him here. He's also an actor. He's like been in Wolf of Wall Street. Like he's a person. But I
also
love him
found out about a TV show he was in that looked really great that I have not heard of before.
Heroes Reborn?
Wait, is that just Heroes, but the second?
Yeah, he was in that. That was his big thing.
I didn't know that was.
Oh, the Adult Swim one. Is
that
where he's
the
a
one?
Satan, where he's a devil.
Yeah.
Yes, he plays Gary the devil. He's not the devil. He plays Gary a demon.
Your pretty face is going to hell.
Your pretty face is going to hell. Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that and I was like, this show looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like, how have I not watched it already?
I haven't either. It's been on my list for years. The premise of that show is funny. It's like demons as though they were in a corporate job. Yeah. So it's
just a workplace comedy about the corporate world.
Yeah. Just set in hell, Yeah. Pretty typical
Same
stuff. The demons have like uniforms. It's khakis and a polo. Like it's very funny. Or the premise is very funny. I can't speak to the show. I assume it's funny. I really like Henry.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, I am too. Eventually, I gotta finish Criminal Minds. So Henry Zebrowski is there. I was so excited to see him. Love him so much. And he is playing
Wade,
Hank's like dorky ass, kind of gross friend. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Kind of gross friend. The way he acted in this reminded me of a friend of ours.
Oh.
So much.
Hold on. Oh, now I'm thinking.
We had talked about it before this podcast.
Oh, you really?
Did you not get that? I got those vibes. I think he's goofy and I think he's fun. And I think that the way he reacts to stuff is similar to how I've heard another person react.
I agree with the goofy and fun part. I don't know if this person we're talking about would take a Matt shot.
Oh, I don't think he would. No, without it. Not without a doubt, but I
also know for a fact that he doesn't chew the way that Henry's character does in this. Like, they zoom in on him eating peanuts multiple times.
Oh,
and
yeah. I agree. 100%.
He's like a little hamster. He's like chewing them with his front teeth.
The gross parts of it, no. But with the accent and the way the responses, I have heard our friend do characters in that exact same voice. So
okay, sure.
And we won't say the name of the friend. But, hey, friend, if you think you know who you are...
Right in at No Show Monster.
When I was watching that, I was like, oh, it makes me feel like I'm back home.
Oh.
Like, Kelly and I aren't from like a small town. Like, it's a medium-sized town. But, I mean, it is Arkansas, so you get some Southern in there. And like,
you get a lot of Southern in there.
So you feel like whenever someone comes up and has like kind of a Southern accent, you kind of get, there are some people, we knew that kind of sound like that, but maybe I'm the only one who interpreted it that way.
I definitely didn't put those dots together. But yeah, Wade is a country bumpkin. He's got this Southern accent and he's being goofy. When Hank joins him at the bar, he's very excitedly telling the bartender about this big buck that Hank once hunted. And he has the bust. What do you call it? The head? Do you just say the head?
Yeah, I think it's bust. I think
bust is like a statue. Is that how you describe it?
Yeah, but it starts
like a
from
taxidermied,
the chest, right? Anybody who knows taxidermy, please write in. But I like that when he describes it, none of the words make any sense. I had to rewind it 3 times and I was like,
did you?
None of this is tracking. But even the bartender was like, you're not speaking a language that I understand.
I feel like I understood. What didn't make sense?
It made sense after he was like, it looked like an airplane with a dick or something. I was like, oh, okay, I get giant deer. But before airplane with a dick, I was very confused.
Oh, I don't know.
He talked about the time that it happened, and then he said something about Millie's I was like, what the fuck's a milli? Not million. This isn't a rap song. I want to get the lines right because of how weird I thought that the way he talked about it was. All right, I'm going to quote it. Also, the band playing, so good. The music when he drove and the band playing, the couple. I did find the soundtrack. Most of it's by The Parlor, which I think that's the band, and then the Hummingbirds.
I did notice while watching the credits that it was mostly two bands. Yeah.
Yeah, The Parlor and the Hummingbirds. I think that this one's The Parlor because this is a male and female duo. Here we go. No, I was just talking about you. I was just telling Jane here about the time that you bagged the Sherman tank-looking fuckbuck. It was down in the Waller over the Baines Prairies about 2 seasons ago, and I don't think she fucking believes me. I didn't hear the word buck.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't a milli, it was a Waller. Who would have thought?
I guess I don't know what a Waller is, but I just assumed it was like a landmark.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so he's excitedly telling Jane, the bartender, about this giant buck. Hank walks in and he's like, perfect timing. Back me up on this. What was that buck's name? And Hank says, Val.
Mm-hmm.
And Zebrowski says, oh, Valentine. And Val has a special place in Chelsea's in my heart.
For sure.
Val Kilmer brought us together these many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We did an episode of A Vague Idea about Val Kilmer a couple months ago. God, a year ago? How long has it been? What is time?
Time is a construct.
It's a flat circle, I'll tell you that much. But for those of you who liked Nate Regolia as a guest here, that's his podcast. So we guested on his podcast about Val Kilmer many months ago and about ghosts not too long ago. And in honor of this, I am drinking Uncle Val's gin. I don't think it has anything to do with Val Kilmer. I just saw the name and was like, yep, I'll be taking one of those. And it tastes like Sprite.
Oh, nice. Okay, not nice. I was going to say, and I usually send you some type of Valentine on Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I send a Val meme to Kelly every Valentine's Day because it's a day not to celebrate your love. It's a day to celebrate your love for Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer.
And I don't know what you guys are doing on February the 14th. If it's not celebrating Val Kilmer, you're doing it wrong.
That's blasphemy. That's disrespectful.
Amen.
Yeah, so this was a big fun moment. Zebrowski is very excited about this buck. He asks where the mounted head is, and Hank tells him it's in the closet at home because Abby, and I quote, doesn't like dead shit on her walls. Zebrowski thinks that that's a shame, but the thing I want to call out is that Hank does not tell Wade that Abby's gone. As far as we know, only Shane knows that Abby's gone, and everybody else just knows that Hank is sort of acting weird.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry Wade is being like gross and fun. I don't even remember what he talks about in this scene.
What was the thing called? The drink. What is the drink called?
He called it a gorilla fart. And that is in my notes to ask, what do you call a mat shot? So a mat shot, for those of you who don't know, is for gross people. And I am saying that as a gross person. It's typically a free shot, and it's also typically a dare of some sort, or like you lost a bet, or I don't know. It's not something you look forward to. But the bartender at the bar takes that mat where they mix drinks and where people return drinks, and they empty out the juice in the mat into a shot glass, and you take the shot.
Have you had a gorilla fart before?
I have never had one. I've been threatened with one.
Ooh.
I have been in a party of people who have taken them. I have
what do they call
so
it?
far abstained. That I couldn't remember. I was hoping you had a name.
Gorilla fart. I
feel like I would recognize the name. I also wonder, I'm going to Google that.
Yeah, we should.
And let's see if Henry made it up or if that's real.
If it isn't, perfect name.
Gorilla Fart does appear to be the name of a shot. Whiskey based, maybe Bacardi.
What is a bar mat shop? Gorilla Fart, Matt Damon, Sweaty Bartender, Gray Snail, Dirty Cow, Sweaty Biker, or if you're in Philadelphia, Jersey Turnpike. The more you know. I mean, it lists Gorilla Fart as the number one, which I appreciate.
That's crazy. I can't believe I've never heard it. I don't know. Maybe I know a regional one, or maybe I've heard a regional one.
Yeah, I didn't even know those were a thing. This movie opened my eyes to that, but I don't go to bars super often.
I don't anymore, given the state of the world, but
yeah,
I used to.
Matt Damon, because it's a Matt.
Oh.
Can we talk about how Abby and I had the same haircut?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I looked at her and I was like, oh, petite child blonde with straight hair and bangs. It made me feel seen.
Oh, that's good. It's good to it's good for a pretty blonde white lady to have representation in a movie.
Yeah, we're not really represented that much. I really like that they actually brought us in on that one.
You never see that.
Absolutely not. Where were we?
Okay. So we were at the bar with Henry. I'm sorry, with Wade.
Yeah,
and he just took the Matt shot. And he was sort of bragging. He was like, I get to do this because I'm a dad. Like, I don't know. He was just being funny. So Hank is back home. He's once again barricaded himself in the entryway waiting for this monster. And something we didn't talk about was when Shane was over, he told him stop trying to shoot at this monster, which is for sure a bear. Like, he did not believe that it was a monster. He was like, how about you try to take a picture of it? But the thing is, we just established in the last scene, Hank is a hunter. He knows what the woods look like outside his house. This is his family home. He's been hunting here for years. He took down a huge buck.
Exactly to that point. I feel like he would have done better at hunting it than he had been doing. We established that the house has 2 wraparound porches, one on the second story, one on the first story. Why aren't you hanging out on the second story just pointing your gun at it, waiting like it's a deer blind?
Okay. Now who knows all about hunting?
Yeah, I know, right?
Little Miss Hunter.
I mean, that's... You have to get above your kill, and you have to make sure that you see it. I have never hunted in my life. Please, anybody who listens who hunts.
I can answer your question. I know exactly why he didn't do this. The monster is a metaphor.
I guess you're not wrong.
So he's trying to take pictures, or he's ready to take photos. He has his little digital camera out, which I think is why I thought the movie was a while ago.
That makes sense. No camera phones, just directly.
So, yeah,
wait, he has landline.
That's true.
So the movie itself may have been shot recently, but it may have been set a while ago.
Yeah, this movie is out of place in time. And so he's looking at photos of Abby on his little camera, and we've got another glowy, sunshiny, happy, flirty memory of Abby, and they're like in a hammock together, and she's pretending his foot is a phone. It's very sweet. But he has dozed off, and suddenly he wakes up to the monster, and he tries to take photos of it out of the hole that he shot through the door the night before. And that's not working. The monster is still there. So he finally takes his gun and he tries to surprise it. He sneaks out the back of the house, goes around that wraparound porch. But as he comes around the corner, monster's gone. And when he looks at the photos, they're all blurry and they're like of his finger. like he did not do a great job of these photos.
Yeah, they're definitely early 2000s pictures that you took with and it was an early 2000s camera. It was one of those quick shot type little digital cameras.
Little silver guys. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's morning again. He made it through another night, and I don't remember what song was playing, but I have in my notes, damn, the soundtrack is good. So whatever was playing was good. And he is drinking alone in a back room. and he is looking at that buck that Wade was talking about, Val.
And I was going to say, Wade also said in the beginning that they offer protection. And he said it's an Indian thing or something.
That's right. I
think he meant Native American.
He corrected himself and said Native American.
Oh, okay. Because later it's brought up and it was like Indian or Viking or something.
Yeah, he says both, but I do think that he corrects himself and says Native American. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm giving Wade too much credit. But Hank picks up this buck and out of it falls a ring box, and it becomes clear that he was planning on proposing to Abby. And when he finds that ring box, he has another memory of them getting frisky in this back room, which is like a laundry room.
Yeah.
It's like a storage room. But he takes that buck and he hangs it in the living room.
And he takes down a painting of a bunch of mallards. Fine.
Was it a bunch of mallards?
Yeah, it was a bunch of mallards that were flying away. And I know this because my grandmother's very old home in Fredonia had a very similar painting.
Do you have one in your Animal Crossing house?
Not yet.
Okay.
I can only get recreations of real paintings that are somewhat fake.
Are the mallards a metaphor? Is everything a metaphor?
Because she's flying away.
Yeah.
Amen.
So Hank just hung the buck back up in the living room. And it's sort of a like, well, if I'm going to be alone, then Val is coming with me.
I thought it was for protection. Maybe it's not, but I thought
maybe it was both of those things.
I feel like him hanging the buck up, I think to your point, is his first step of being like, look, you're not coming back. Because how long can he wait for Abby to come back before he moves on with his life? How long do you wait for someone when they don't give you any indication they're leaving? Or like any indication that it's over? I don't know. What do you do? And I guess that's what the whole theme of this one is.
Right, yeah.
Is that you don't know. This is an instance where you have lost, but you don't know.
Right. It's not like you have no answers. You have to sit and wonder. Aw, poor Hank.
Yeah.
So we see Hank, it's night once more. We see him sleeping on the couch in front of the door again. And there's a horror movie playing in the background.
What horror movie was that? Was it the Wicker Man? Wicker Man?
No, I feel like there was a monster. There's no monster in Wicker Man. It's just witches, right?
It was a child in a mask.
Oh.
There was a child in a mask and they were burning someone, which would lead me to believe that it might be Wicker Man. However, I don't recall that being a specific scene in it, but it's been so long. 1973. I don't know why I'm asking.
What? Why? It was in black and white.
Was it? Was it in black and white? Or was it just really drab in color? Because isn't it supposed to be very much like Midsommar, where it's during a folk festival?
Oh, I don't know about Wicker Man. I'm saying that the movie that Hank was watching was in black and white.
Okay. Wicker Man's in color.
I don't know. I don't know enough about
But Wicker I really want to know what movie it was because every piece of it, I was like, oh, this is really interesting.
I feel very confident that whatever he was watching was a creature feature.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that for sure. That's a gut feeling. I feel very strongly that he was watching a creature feature and there was a woman screaming in the background. I don't feel confident about the woman screaming. That's a fact. I have a call to action for our listeners. There is a movie that I watched when I was 4 or 5, black and white, horror movie, or maybe sci-fi. I think horror though. And in it was almost like a werewolf movie, and that you could be converted into a monster, but it was like plants doing the converting. I just remember a guy leaning against a tree and the tree like enveloping him. And then later he's like covered in lichen while attacking somebody. What movie is that? Is this a 4-year-old dream I had? What movie? So, Hank is asleep on the couch. This horror movie is playing in the background. Woman screams. He wakes up to the monster's little fingies coming through that hole that he shot through the door. And they are fingies.
Could you give me a dictionary definition of fingies, please?
Yeah. Metatarsals.
All right. The fingies were very sharp, and you only see 3 fingies.
I don't know that I saw sharp, long.
I saw
for
triangular.
Sure.
Are you thinking of alien fingies?
Yeah, and we're gonna get there.
Okay. I did love how much they talked about aliens in this.
I'm glad. That's a great segue because Wade comes over the next morning. And if you recall, that is Henry Zebrowski. So
I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am doing a dance.
She's fist pumping.
He's my fave.
So after he sees the fingies, he shoots through the hole in the door, aiming at the monster. And so Wade comes over the next morning and he's investigating the scene. So you'll recall, door is all scratched, shotgun hole in the door. And Wade is standing there and he says, "Yep, that's a pool of blood. I think you got it, buddy." And he goes on.
It wasn't that big of a pool either.
No, but it was like a pool for sure.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have think that anything died.
If your assumption is that it is a panther, which is Wade's assumption, that's enough to kill a panther, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not a black bear, and certainly not the monster.
It just did not feel like enough blood. I feel like if I lost that much blood, I would still survive. And I feel like I'm the size of a panther. I am not. Never mind. I wish I was the size of a panther is really what we're getting at here.
Anyway, Wade is like, "You for sure got him, buddy." And then he goes on a little rant about how this was probably a panther. He's like, "I've been watching some YouTube videos. All cats are the same. They all purr and they all play. It doesn't matter how big they are. And you know what? Panthers, they're coming back. They're fucking again." Which is how I learned that panthers were going extinct. Yeah, this is just a funny... Henry Zebrowski is great. It was great to see him here. And they go out hunting this monster. Hank asks Wade if he brought a shotgun. And then we have a quick cut to them going through the tall grass of Hank's land. And Wade does not have a shotgun. He's got an axe over his head. And that was very funny to me. Hank has his shotgun and they're like slowly walking through this tall grass. And
it's also nice that Wade seems terrified. Like,
Wade
he believes him enough that he's scared as shit. Like,
he's so scared. And he's asking, "Hank, you said you saw its hand? When you said hand, did you mean paw?" Like, that's very funny. He's trying to get clarity on what this creature is, and then he goes on a rant about aliens. He's talking about some documentary he watched about aliens and how crazy they look and how they're coming to Earth or whatever. And I loved this for Henry Zebrowski. He is alien obsessed. I mentioned I know him from Last Podcast on the Left. I'm sure most of you also know him from Last Podcast on the Left. He is obsessed with aliens. He
wants to believe.
No, he fully
does believe.
Like, I want to believe. He fully believes. And he's like on another alien level. He believes that they are like consciousness coming over from another plane. Not nuts and bolts aliens. I don't know. He thinks a lot about aliens. And so I was just so happy for him in this scene to be going on a little alien rant. This turns into a touching moment. They get to a clearing and Hank is like, "First of all, you talk enough to clear the woods. So we're for sure not going to find it with you out here chatting away. And second of all, Abby left." And the staging, the blocking of this scene was funny to me. Like, they're both talking about
the drama kid. And you coming out right now?
Yes. This movie, I mentioned it before to you. Maybe it was off air. There are scenes in this movie that look like a play. Mm-hmm. And there's one that's really long that we're coming up on, but this is one.
I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Yeah, this is one that also looks like it's in a play. So they're standing like 10 feet apart from each other. Hank just told Wade this big thing that's been weighing on him. And the men each have their weapon over one shoulder and their free hand on their hip. It's a very Southern pose, I think. It's a very like shooting the shit type pose. I don't know. I thought that this was funny, that the only way Hank was able to tell his buddy about what he's going through is with weapons in hand.
You gotta overdo the tough.
Yeah.
To be sensitive.
Exactly. So they're like, they have to be hunting a monster before they can talk about their feelings. But he tells Wade this and they hug. Wade is funny. He like fully drops the axe to come in for a hug. And they have a moment of silence. And then Wade says, do you want to get drunk? And Hank says, yeah, let's go get drunk. And that's just beautiful. That's beautiful. That's love. Men. That's men love. For you. So we don't get like a drinking montage or anything. We cut to Hank alone at night. Once again, although this time you can tell he's drunk because he's in his undies and boots. He been drinking and he lays out a bear trap on the porch, and the chain for the bear trap extends through the house. It comes through the hole in the door and goes back to, it's like secured somewhere later in the house. He falls asleep and we see more memories of Abby. We see them painting the house together and they're like, she is singing along to a song and he refuses to sing with her.
I thought this was going to end up being a sad memory.
Oh, you thought so?
Yeah. Because
why?
Because he was like, I don't want to sing along to it. And I thought it was going to be their first disagreement that shows the fraying in the relationship. But that's not at all what it is. And they just continue to be incredibly lovable.
Yep. They're just very sweet and they're making the house nice.
Yeah.
And he wakes up.
Paint fight.
Yeah, they
paint fight.
They paint fight. It's very sweet. And he wakes up to the trap going off and the chain like whipping through the house. And so the next morning he goes to Shane's house with the bear trap. And he's like, whatever I caught pried itself out. You ever hear of a bear doing that? What bear pries itself out of a trap? And Shane brings him inside and he's like, cool it. It's nothing. And Hank is like, no, I cannot be the only one seeing this in town. So are you receiving sightings? Are you receiving reports of something? And Shane is super skeptical. He goes off like, do you know how many people in Barlow would say that they have seen a UFO? Like, this is people in small towns. They're imagining things. Yeah. None of this is real. And then he goes on to say, we fill in the blanks of what we don't understand. We've been letting our imaginations draw faces on the voices in the dark since we've been living in caves. And we always draw sharp teeth.
Oh my God. I completely missed that line, but that's such a good line.
Yeah, it's a great line.
Is that when he's inside eating bacon?
Yeah, he makes some bacon.
I like that scene a lot.
I did too.
Also, he had a very nice kitchen.
Yeah. How? Well, I
that's why I thought it was more current. You can live in a small town and still have a contractor.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's just a single guy. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't expect him to put that much energy into his kitchen.
Oh, yeah. There's so much energy in that kitchen.
So Hank is back home and he has taken a bunch of bottles of wine out and he's just shooting for fun to like let off steam. But I guess I wouldn't say for fun because he's fully crying.
Yeah.
He is crying while he is shooting at these bottles of wine.
This is the most emotional you see him throughout the movie.
And this is going to come back. So there are 4 bottles of wine he's lined up and he's breaking them one by one. And when he shoots the 3rd, it knocks over the 4th. So he doesn't get the opportunity to shoot at the 4th. And then he has a flashback to one of Abby's birthdays. And it's them at their dining room table with a bunch of their friends. And they are drinking wine. And it's the Pinot Noir. You guys don't know that. I know that because I've seen the movie a couple times. But it's the Pinot Noir. And they are having a good time with their friends. And then Wade lets slip that his wife is pregnant. And everybody is celebratory. And his wife is like, oh, I didn't want to tell anybody. Like, I didn't want to steal your birthday thunder. I'm so sorry. And Abby is like, no, this is wonderful news. This is the best birthday present. But as everybody is doting on her, we see Abby at the head of the table, sad. She is clearly impacted by her friend being pregnant in a way that is like a heavy feeling for her. So then we're back in the present, and Hank goes and picks up the bottle of wine that didn't break. And it's Pinot Noir. They don't tell you that at this point in the movie. I'm telling you that as somebody from the future, but it's the Pinot Noir. Keep your eye on the Pinot Noir. So in the next scene, Hank is at his bar and it's closing time. Everybody's gone. He is there with just Jane, the bartender, and she is counting out her tips for the night, and they are going shot for shot with whiskey. And he is pretty clearly staring at her some kind of way. Nothing happens. Her ride comes and she leaves with them. When she leaves, he continues drinking. And this was sort of a sentimental moment. Maybe sentimental isn't the right word, but he pours whiskey into his own glass, and then he pours whiskey into her glass. And he like cheerses them and he drinks both. So he's just lonely. He's just a lonely guy at this moment. So he goes home, and it is after midnight, and the doors are open and the couch is overturned. So the monster that's been coming every night has gotten into the house. Fortunately, his shotgun is in the entryway, so he grabs it and starts hunting for it throughout the house. And he hears it on the floor above him. But when he comes around the corner to go up the stairs, the monster comes shooting down the stairs out into the night. So Hank follows it, and it's pitch black. We're only seeing the surroundings as he shoots his shotgun. So it's just a series of like flashes and then darkness. And then we hear in the darkness a cat meow. And Chelsea is frowning.
Oh, we both have little baby cats. So
we've got little baby cats.
You're like, oh, no.
He calls out. He's like, Darby, is that you? And then he shoots the gun again. And we see this big old monster eating the cat. He's just chomping down on the cat. And it goes dark again. And we hear Hank whisper, what the fuck was that? So he goes back to the house, and there's this really long scene of him reorganizing the entryway. He puts the cushions back on the couch. He realizes he did that wrong, so he reorganizes them. He moves the couch back in front of the door. He puts the throw pillows back on, and then he sits on the couch and it collapses beneath him, and he breaks into tears. And I don't know, this scene, I could really relate to it. Like, have you been in a situation in your life where like everything is falling apart, and so you really focus in on like a simple task? You're like,
oh, if sure.
just brush my teeth, you know, you're like, let me put the dishes away. Like, you focus in on a little thing, and when that little thing goes wrong, you like break into 1,000 pieces.
Oh, so many times. So many times in the last 6 months alone. Like,
oh, God.
Oh, man. There was like a pair of pants like stuck in the dryer, like wrapped around the...
Oh, God.
Or it's stuck in the washer, wrapped around the middle part. And I was just like, this would happen. This would happen today. This would happen right now. And it's just like every little thing becomes the biggest thing in the world. It
becomes huge.
Straw.
I remember I was driving in my old... Oh, God. It was a 1998 Chevy Cavalier, and the tape player adapter broke, so I couldn't play music on my phone anymore. And when it broke, I was also stuck in traffic, and I screamed myself hoarse in the car. Like I was going through a bunch of family stuff at the time, but like the tape deck breaking.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with the tape deck. Yeah, so this was a very relatable moment, I thought. So he goes to bed and we see some more sunshiny, glowy memories of him and Abby walking through a vineyard, again, laughing and flirting and having a good time. And when I said he goes to bed, I mean he goes to bed. He's been sleeping on the couch in the entryway, but since he got home after the monster had already left, he goes upstairs and actually sleeps in bed. And then morning comes and Abby comes home. She tries to get in the front door, can't because the couch is there. And so she comes in the back and she immediately starts tidying. She like picks up mail off the floor and Hank comes down to her doing dishes. And did you catch the lyrics of the song that was playing?
No, I did not.
So a record was playing. Abby had put on a record. That's what wakes Hank up. And the lyrics to the song were "Stay for good this time."
Oh.
And so Hank comes down, sees her doing dishes, and turns off the record player. He's mad. And then we see them outside burying Darby, the cat. They have a box. Hank is digging a hole, and Abby has like a cat toy she's going to bury. And she says, "It's my birthday tomorrow." And Hank is like, "You think I don't know that? Like, we've been celebrating your birthday for 9 years. Like, I know that." And she wants to have people over for the birthday. She says, "Hey, I need you to fix the front door. It's a wreck. Fix it so our friends can come over." And he's like, "No, a monster comes every night at midnight. We can't have people over." And she says, "Well, then kill it, Hank. You're a hunter." And now it's my favorite scene.
That's your favorite scene? This is your favorite scene?
Yeah, the 13-minute long
stage
I
would have thought that would have been your least favorite scene. So
Why?
I'm actually shocked. I don't know, because there's like no action. It's just dialogue.
Yeah, I love dialogue. I was an English minor.
It was good. Yeah, this conversation
is tough.
Enlightening, but rough.
It's enlightening. It's tough. It's got shades of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. It is straight out of a play. Mm-hmm. It is, okay, so it's the two of them in the entryway of the house. They've pulled up chairs and they are looking out at the land, waiting for this monster. Abby is barefoot and she's sitting crisscross applesauce in her chair and she's got a glass of wine. And Abby is looking at Hank. And Hank is looking out. And he's got the shotgun on his knees. And he's got a bottle of beer. Mm-hmm. And the scene is fully 13 minutes. This is a 13-minute scene. And this is it. I've described the whole thing to you. Like it's the two of them talking in their entryway. The camera like slowly moves, like it's a tighter and tighter shot throughout this conversation. And they basically just hash it out. She asks him, "I noticed Val is back on the wall. That's the buck. That's the big old animal he killed." And she asks, "When is this monster supposed to show up?" And he says he's not sure. It has come every night since she left, but she's back now. So who knows what's going to happen?
You know, at this point, I was like, maybe she is the monster.
And he says, "I'm not entirely sure. And it's not you."
When he said that, I was like, oh, is this what's going to happen? Is this it? Is she the monster? And I mean, watching a lot of horror movies, you kind of would be led to believe that, yeah, maybe.
The first time I watched the movie, I was convinced she was a werewolf of some kind. Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, maybe she's the monster. It starts showing up right after she leaves. Mm-hmm. What else are you like? Maybe it was like an Alex Mack situation. I don't know.
Turns into a puddle.
So he makes this joke about not being convinced she's not the monster, and then he asks sincerely, "Where did you go?" And he thinks that she went to Miami to see an old boyfriend. And she's like, "Yeah, I did go to Miami to my reunion that I told you about and begged you to go to." Dumb idiot. She begged you to go and you didn't put these things together?
Yeah.
Come on, Hank. And he's like, okay, so you didn't see the boyfriend? And she explains, no, I did. I saw him at the reunion with his wife, and they left early to pick up their kids. And he's like, okay, all right, okay. That explains about 9 hours. Where have you been the other 4 weeks? And she starts talking about this small town that they live in, that they're from. So Barlow is tiny, and she went to the big city for college. She went to Miami, and she started talking about what a great time she had in Miami. All the food she tried. She had sushi and tamales, and she like went to a baseball game and saw a play, and she is waxing poetic about how great this town is. And she's like, and that's just what we can experience 4 hours from our front door. And he asks why she didn't call. Why haven't I heard from you? And she says that she wanted to call, but she knew that either he would convince her to come home, which she didn't want to do yet, or she would get so mad that she'd never come home again.
Yeah, which I don't think is a good excuse for having bad communication. I understand where she was coming from because she had to live her life and do what she needed to do, but you're impacting somebody else's life for that amount of time. So at least give them an idea of what they can do on their own.
I do agree that she should have been more clear about how long she was going to be gone.
Yeah.
Or even if she doesn't know how long she's going to be gone, I do think she should have been like, hey, I am going to Miami. In the note, she should have said, I am going to Miami. And
I think it would have even been fair not to. Yeah, I think it would have even been fair not to say where she was going. If she was like, I need to think things over. I don't know how long I need. That's it. Like something. But like based on that note, I would have expected her to come back that afternoon. Like if it was just like a normal day and she had said, hey, I'm going to go. I don't know how long I'm going to be away. Be back soon or whatever. Did it say be back soon?
I don't remember. I didn't think that it was like an afternoon thing because it said I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have thought 4 weeks. I feel like that was the difficult part, is just like, at what point is he allowed to move on? And that's the first call he has where he's like, I just need you to tell me that it's okay, basically, to get on with my life, because he's in a limbo that's unfair.
I do agree that limbo is unfair.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And that's the only part. Like, I don't disagree with her needing time away. I don't disagree with the amount of time she took away. I just disagree with her not being open to him. Like, she didn't need to have a conversation back and forth. She could have sent a message through her brother being like, I'm safe, I'm okay, I need more time.
I agree with that. I for sure agree with that.
And I think that that's okay, because he could have also, like, to that point, I mean, I thought for a good chunk of it before she came back that she may have been dead. Like, I thought maybe the monster had killed her. And that was a part that they weren't addressing and wouldn't address until the end of the movie. So he may even, like, I don't know. I'm not in his shoes. Being in limbo for that long is really difficult.
Yeah, at least he thought she was with her high school boyfriend. He didn't think she was dead. He just thought...
Yeah. But he thought maybe she was with somebody else, but he wasn't sure. If he had known she was with somebody else, then maybe he felt okay about moving on. It leaves him in a state of not understanding what's going on. Like, if she's just trying to find herself and she's going to come back and figure it out, then great. If she's out trying to figure out herself with other people, maybe that's the thing that he needs to take on to himself and figure out how he is with other people. It's just evening the playing field to make it fair to the other person that you care about.
And I think that that's why we see him mad at her when he makes that second phone call in the beginning. Like, in that first phone call he makes, he very clearly is like, we have to talk about this if you want out. Like, you have to tell me if you want out. I agree. Not knowing is not fair.
Yeah. But I think her leaving and her trying to find out what she was and what she wanted, I think that was fair.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been in this small town for your whole life, and you just got a little taste of the bigger world when you were in school. She goes on to say that she was never going to stay in Barlow after school. She came back to save a little money, and he wooed her. She says, "You used to look at me like you couldn't believe that I existed. Now you hardly look at me at all." And that's consistent throughout this whole scene. He doesn't look at her until she demands it. She demands that he look at her, and he does. And even then, it's only briefly. And she accuses him of looking at other women. And she specifically mentions Jane. And she says, "I know you're a hunter. Maybe it was all about the pursuit. I wake up and I'm a 33 unmarried, childless bar manager living in the only town I ever wanted to leave." Boy. Yeah. Wow.
It was rough.
Oh, no.
It was rough.
Oh, no. And
that was a hard part because she goes on to just be like, would I be enough for you if the situation were reversed?
Yeah.
If I wanted to go out to the big city and you came with me, would I be enough?
And she doesn't think that she would be.
Yeah. And I feel like I don't know, the scene hit me pretty hard as someone from a small town who moved to a big city. Yeah. Who did so while in a relationship. It is a hard thing to deal with because you get worried about those things. Like, and I'm not saying, obviously I'm with an artist, so he wants to be in a bigger city to get the bigger things. But so that worked out fine for me. But in that context, it is hard to think about things when you're in a relationship and how those variables of where you both feel set and where you both want to be and how that can just, I don't know. That was a rough one. And I was like, is she enough? God, this sucks.
This was a very hard scene.
At the scene, I was like, I am upset for both of them at this moment. I am sad for both of them because both of them want something I feel like they can't have, which is somebody who wants to be in the same space they do. Because Hank wants to be in the small town with Abby, and Abby wants to be in the big city with Hank. And it just felt very sad. It felt very sad. This is a very funny movie.
Super funny. Do you remember how we said that this was the lighthearted one of our Lost series?
Oh, shit. This was a sad scene, though.
This was a very sad scene. Okay. All right. I'm going to call it Just Say It. Are you ready? Buckle up. This scene made me think of Shane earlier saying that we fill in the blanks of what we don't understand. And I think that that's what's happening here. They are not communicating. They don't know. They don't know what the other one wants. And so they are both making assumptions about what the other one wants.
Damn, I think you're right.
And I think that that's what the monster is. So
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, 100%. I think you just solved the entire movie.
Let me bring it back around. That monster's an alien though, right?
For sure. We get to that. It definitely is.
That monster's an alien. It's a metaphor, but it's also an alien. I think that that's what's happening here. I think that they can have what they want. They just need to fucking talk to each other instead of bearing it down and manifesting a weird alien in your town.
100% agree with that.
So midnight hits during this scene and she gets up and says, look at that. It's my birthday. Remember where we were on this night 10 years ago? And we know they were sexing each other right here in this entryway. And he says, of course I remember, right in this room. And she says, sometimes it feels like we've lived our whole lives in this room. I don't think your monster's coming. And she leaves. She leaves.
And it was also a hard part because it's like, I don't know. I've moved 3 times in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Like living your life in one single room. And even as they're sitting there drinking, it just feels like that entryway is like the comfort area of the entire movie. But, this was a very intense.
This was a very intense scene.
Mm-hmm.
It goes on. I cannot stress to you guys how long it goes on. I know I said 13 minutes, but in movie time, this movie is only 83 minutes.
Yeah.
This movie is only 83 minutes, and 13 of them are this scene.
That's more than 1/10 of the movie.
Good job.
Is it more than?
I didn't.
Nope, I don't have a good math.
I can't math.
Yeah.
After she leaves, Hank has another flashback to that scene where Abby finds the tape dedicated to Julie. And she is teasing him. She's using his own words against him. She's like, this is experiential. You can't unwrap a memory like this. Let me play the tape. I bet it's so many embarrassing songs. And he says it's not a bunch of songs. It's one song over and over. You know, like you do.
No, and I don't know like you do.
What? And he was like, so you don't have to rewind? And I was like, what?
When was this ever a thing?
What are you talking about?
Everybody write in if you've ever done a repeat of one song on a tape. That's precious real estate.
I will say that today when I make playlists, I will put the same song on like 10 times, but it's because I'm going to listen to that playlist on shuffle and I just want that song to have like a high play ratio. Like I don't want to listen to it over and over and over again in order.
Makes sense.
So then it's the next day and it is Abby's birthday and everybody is at the house. It's Shane and it's Wade and it's Wade's wife and it's some gal.
Yeah, I don't know who she is.
I don't know who that gal is. And they are doing karaoke and it is so bad. It's so bad. It's
in the
so bad
way. It is real karaoke. It wasn't a lot of people who were actually good at it, which makes me appreciate it so much more.
Oh, it made me so uncomfortable.
Because it felt real. It didn't feel like people who had practiced a long time.
The parts where like the unknown gal and Wade's wife are singing together and they're like calling Abby my bitch and they're like, happy birthday, my bitch. Like that felt really real to me. But like Abby singing stressed me out. Oh God.
Yeah, she was not great.
She was not good and she was so nervous and there was no audience participation and they're all there celebrating her birthday. They should be participating. I don't know. This stressed me out. And they're all sitting around the dining room table after karaoke and Abby brings out a jug of brown liquid. Mm-hmm. And turns out that is wine that she made herself. It is brown. It's brown. And she has like a funny name for it. What does she call it? Brune. Yeah. Pinot Brune or something.
Pinot Brune or...
Yeah. Brune McGee.
Something.
She passes around little glasses for everybody to try her weird brown wine. And Wade, Henry Zabrowski of Last Podcast on the Left, says, do you guys remember Jonestown? Oh, that got me real good. I don't know. I'm a big Henry Zabrowski fan, though I recognize that many of his early characters are problematic. So while they're sitting around the table, Shane starts asking about the monster. And he's just being kind of a dick. He's like, I don't know. He just asks what everybody thinks about the monster. The table gets quiet. And then he starts asking people, have you ever seen a UFO? And Wade's wife and the unknown girl both say, yeah, they have for sure. And that's like proof to him that people of Barlow are making up stories. And he like raises his eyebrows to Hank as though to prove it. And he tries to ask details about their alien sightings and blah, blah, blah. He doesn't think that they exist. And even if they did exist, they wouldn't come to Barlow. And Hank apologizes for being such an asshole lately, but goes on to say, you're wrong. Whatever I'm seeing is real. It's out there.
He was also very mean to the brother.
Was he mean? I thought
he was, because I was like, no, don't be mean to him. He's going to be your brother-in-law. But he said he was a single man in a washed-up town. Like it was a pretty biting response to him, which it makes sense. He was a dick to him. He was being a dick back. It makes sense. But I was just like, oh, no, guys, stop being mean to each other. I also wanted Shane to stop being mean, but he seemed like the goober brother. And I was like, you know what? He's just... No one believes what he's saying anyway.
Oh, I didn't think that. I thought the whole table was like really listening to Shane and very awkward about it. I
was going to say, I felt the opposite. And they were like, oh, Shane.
I don't know. Everybody was like making eye contact. It felt very awkward.
Well, they were like, why is Shane bringing this up? This is unnecessary. Shane, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, both of you, stop it. Both of you
it's like, nice. Let's not talk about it.
Everybody be cool.
It's like the 2016 election all over again, 2020 election. I don't know. It was just like a bad family conversation that happened. And then...
Yeah, so Hank goes on to say, you're right about this town. Actually, he's not talking to Shane in this scene.
Point, yeah.
He's talking to Abby. He says, you're right about this town. It's nothing but a speck of dust in the galaxy. And if no thinking thing in the universe is going to come here, how can I expect you to stay here? You know, I never did give enough thought to what makes you who you are. Maybe they make me feel small or stupid. I always knew with you, I caught something you can't lock in, and I tried to do it anyway. So let's get out of here, baby. You are enough for me. And then he goes to get the karaoke machine. And it's like an awkward scene. He's like bumping into things.
Yeah.
It's very funny. He comes in and sets up the karaoke machine, and the track starts, and he says, "This is for you, baby. And Julie. You say I only hear what I want to.
Don't listen hard. Don't pay attention to the distance that you're running."
Keep going.
So
he sings the whole song, top to bottom.
Yeah, there is no interruption, and I sang along with it, and then the table sang along with it, and I was like,
"Table sing along with it."
This movie is perfect.
He sings the whole song, and it's very sweet. He's like,
and he's not bad at it. It fits enough that it's not uncomfortable like the other characters.
He's the best singer of the bunch. He's got a perfectly pleasant voice, and he's like singing to Abby, and it's also very sweet and endearing. He's like still drinking his beer, and when he's not singing to Abby, he's like glaring at the other people at the table, like, how dare you be here for this moment? And he's
perfect.
Like, he's just embarrassed and self-conscious. But as he goes, he grows more confident, and he's doing a good job. And it's so sweet. And he and Abby are making eye contact, and they're clearly like experiencing a moment, and they are
reconnecting.
They're reconnecting.
Yeah.
It's very emotional. And then the fucking monster comes in and tackles Hank.
This is why the movie was so good. I was like, so we're just going to ignore that there was a monster this entire time?
Nope. Monster turns up. Happy birthday, Abby. Tackles Hank. Hank goes down. Everybody at the table reacts. And Hank gets up, and he's like bloody and haggard. And he follows the monster into the living room. And he tears the antlers off of Val the buck. He tears those antlers off. So you were right. This was about protection. Look at these antlers coming in the clutch. Antlers,
what would he have done?
Yep. So he pulls those antlers off, and he attacks the monster. And while this is happening, a bottle of wine is disrupted in the living room, and it rolls out into the hallway. Then Abby picks it up while Hank is attacking this monster, and he like
viciously
kills the shit.
He's like, "You've been fucking with me for a month. I haven't slept. This is all of the rage that I've had pent up in me. Here you go."
Not to use a Criminal Minds term, but this is overkill. Like, oh my God, he gets after, he's covered in blood. And
he keeps going. And I think
do you remember?
Shane brings in his shotgun or the shotgun?
Yeah, Shane went to find a gun. What an impotent
But
man.
then Abby was like, "It's fine. He's got it.
Yeah,
he's dead."
It's super dead. Do you remember in Dead and Breakfast, there's a scene where one of the characters uses antlers to kill one of the zombies?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I just watched a movie where this happened. It was this movie. Yeah, it was this one.
I do remember you saying that.
This was it.
Oh, perfect. I'm glad I didn't remember it in the movie, because I wouldn't have remembered that I was just like, oh, that's weird. And then at the end,
it's so sweet. So
it's so sweet.
It's sweet. So the monster dies, And Hank's eyes are crazy. And he is covered in blood. And Abby comes into the room just like clutching this bottle of wine that rolled out of the living room. And we talked about it in the beginning of the movie, how all of the memories of her are like golden and sunny, and all of his are like blue. This scene is literally cut that way. Like the living room is dark and he's in there with this dead monster and he's bloody and on his knees. And the door is open. So there's like an angle of light cutting the room down the middle. And she's on the bright side. So this is like an echo. Very well done. And this is another, like, this is very theatrical.
Yeah.
This is something I would do if I were directing a stage play. And I say that having worked in theater for 1,000 years. Like I'm not just talking out of my ass. I mean, I am a little bit, but like but like I do have experience with this. So she's clutching this bottle of wine and he's still on his knees. They sort of come together at this seam in the room and he asks her if she's okay. Very sweet. And she says yes. And he takes this bottle of wine out of her hands and he looks at it and it's the Pinot Noir. And he sort of laughs and says, I was supposed to give this to you tonight. And he holds it up to her so that the bottom is facing her. And you know how wine bottles have that little divot in the bottom? Well, that ring he found earlier is taped to the bottom. So he's proposing to her and it's very sweet. He's on his knees. She's standing.
He's on his knees, covered in blood.
Covered in blood, just how every girl always imagines it.
Beautiful.
Dead monster laying feet from you. And this is just so sweet. He says, do you want to drink another case of this shit with me? I like that line so much. I like this movie so much. This is a very sweet ending. And I know you felt conflicted about it.
Oh, I didn't really. I was very happy at the end.
Okay.
But I was trying to interpret it. I was trying to overanalyze it in that moment because we talked about in like Possession of Michael King, did the child end up being okay even though she went through such trauma?
No, that kid's fucked. Yeah.
But Abby like looked at him like, this is a lot. Am I comfortable with this? She was. It was beautiful. I ended that movie very happy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like romantic comedies make me feel comfortable. That was romantic. I wouldn't consider it a comedy. I wouldn't consider it super scary. I didn't know what was going to happen. It was so... I couldn't tell what lane it was going to choose.
It's definitely...
And it still stayed in kind of all of them. Like, it was still a horror movie up until the end. You had to still murder the monster. I mean, we don't get a lot of explanation on the monster. And unlike some of the other movies we've watched, I don't give a shit.
No, yeah. In this one, it's fine.
I'm glad you guys worked out.
Yeah.
Like I had so something invested.
Else. Exactly. Yeah. I had something else to focus on.
Yeah.
I really liked this movie. Very sweet. The monster looks great. The cover of this movie, I like want to get it tattooed on my forearm.
It's good.
It looks dope. And again, all the actors I thought did a great job.
Phenomenal. I can't. No, even the extra girl in it who talked about seeing a UFO once still liked her part.
Yeah, she was great.
I don't think there was anyone that I was like, I liked it. I liked every part of it. Complaint, they didn't treat me stupid enough and give me enough exposition on how time passes.
Yeah, I needed like a worksheet up top.
Yeah.
That was like, we're starting.
That's my only complaint. I didn't know timing. And that was my only complaint because I was like, I'm very confused at the amount of time that has passed. Should I be very sad or just a little sad? Like, should I be concerned that he's not moved on by now?
Right,
or should I be like, man, it makes sense. It's just a few weeks.
Or has it been like a week? Yeah, I agree. And especially the timelines of the memories.
Yeah.
Like realizing that all of these memories were birthdays takes a minute, I think.
Yep.
But great. I liked it. I've seen it twice now. I'm for sure going to watch it again. I liked this one a lot.
Yeah. First time seeing it. Gonna watch it again. Gonna make other people watch it.
Yep,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah. And gonna try to check out other of Jeremy Gardner's movies.
Yep, me too.
Because if they're anything like this one, I probably gonna be very happy with it. Really impressive. Everyone in this movie is impressive in their own right outside of this movie. So check out everything that everyone in this movie has done outside of this movie and just appreciate the movie as is.
we're going to watch Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Circle back on that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I'm excited for that one. I feel like this movie not only was a wonderful watch, but exactly to your point, has opened a lot of doors to other things that are going to be really delightful. So I'm excited. I'm excited that we watched the movie, and I'm excited for what's to come.
Yep, it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of what's to come, we're doing Slapface next week?
Yes.
Slapface,
which is a combination. This is a movie that we're using to transition to our next series, which is Tulpas.
Tulpas, baby.
So this one's going to be about loss and tulpas. So we are choosing that little midsection of that Venn diagram to give you guys that sweet, sweet middle spot.
We're going to slowly ease you into tulpas.
Don't want to be abrupt about it. Gonna be gentle. This was a rough series, I think, I know it was for me and Kelly. Listeners, I am sorry if it was for you, but thank you for joining us on this sad and hopeful journey that we have gone on the last couple of weeks.
This has been Never Show the Monster. I'm Kelly Attaway.
I'm Chelsea Hollander.
And we will see you next week to discuss Slapface.
Happy Spookies!
Happy Spookies!
Oh, the reason I'm telling you this is because I went to the bathroom and I thought something whispered, "Hey."
Oh,
me.
God.
And I was like, so I thought Ryan was in our bedroom. He was not in our bedroom.
Okay. All right. This is the start. We've captured it. Everybody write it down in your calendars.
No, don't. Because
it's March 24th, 7:29. I'm just saying we're going to create a collective log of occurrences.
No, we're taking this one out.